No, I'm talking about the so-called science behind them that the rat researchers hired by NHTSA came up with. Rat behavior research psychologists that NHTSA hired to do neurological testing and develop neurological tests. Sorry? Yes, you'd never hire a person with an expertise in rat behavior to determine human neurology.
Okay. So you also talked about how a subject's driving is in a way for an officer to truly tell if somebody's character.
That's not exactly what I said. I said the best evidence of impairment for purposes of driving or lack thereof is actual driving. And if the person's driving the car perfectly, that's the very definition of not being impaired for purposes of driving.
And that is, of course, you never worked in law enforcement.
Well, I worked as an investigator for the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. I had a badge. We enforced laws. I didn't run around with a gun. Pulled somebody over? No.
You never received any sort of police training on what to look for when deciding whether or not to pull someone over?
That's absolutely incorrect. I took a course, a police course in DUI investigation.
But you never actually did.
Pulled someone over? Yes, I don't pull people over.
So you never actually, even if you took a course. So, again, you've taken many courses that apparently you never planned on using. You just took them to bolster your credibility, bolster your resume. Why did you do that?
To be able to explain to prosecutors that they're junk, I know they're junk because I took the tests. I took the courses.
Got it. So,
I'm saying that when the police got behind him, even with the police behind him and lighting him up, which would cause some nervousness, etc., and they are yelling orders on the PA system, he followed everything correctly, and the officers noted nothing wrong with his driving.
So, your testimony that he drove perfectly, at least even in that period that you just described, he drove perfectly?
From when the officers pulled him over? Yes.
And what do you base that on?
The police report.
So is your testimony that was in the police report?
Yes. Would you like me to cite to the particular area I'm talking about?
Okay. Yes, actually would.
Right. The officers.
Can you show me?
Sure. It's in the narrative. It's on the first page of the DS 367.
Yep.
And the officers discuss everything that happened in his driving behaviors and did not note one deficiency.
Okay. So, based off of the reports and not even watching the video to see how the driving is. Is that right?
I don't know if I saw a video in this case. I've been doing 2 cases a day, today and yesterday, that I had to prepare for both.
You didn't view the video in this case, right?
I don't know if this was this case or the other case that I saw the video.
So all your testimony that you've been talking about, are you even sure that that's referring to Reyes-Contreras or the other case that you were working?
I recited the facts of Mr. Reyes-Contreras driving, where he pulled off on Eastern, where they told him to pull over on the curb, when he had 30 seconds out of 30 seconds on the modified Romberg.
Okay. So, did you read the entire report?
Yes.
Okay. And again, you don't know if you watched the video. Could have been you did, could have been you didn't, you don't remember.
It doesn't matter. I trust the officer.
Why do you trust the officer?
Because the things he said about the defendant driving perfectly, the officer's job is to note any deficiency, and he didn't note any, so I believe him. He also said he had the strong odor of an alcoholic beverage. Why would he say that if that wasn't true?
Okay. Do you remember the part where the officer wrote that the defendant took 14 steps on the initial walk and turn test instead of 9 as instructed?
I assumed he wanted extra credit.
So you believe that too, then, right? You believe that part? That Mr. Reyes-Contreras, the officer wrote, he took 14 steps on the walk and turn instead of 9, and he put that in the report. And you believe that?
Yes.
As you should, right? Because the officer wrote it.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
That's literally what you're testifying to right now. You're saying if the officer wrote it, I trust him.
No, I'm saying if the officer wrote things beneficial to the defendant and that show he's innocent, that's not something the officer has any motivation to lie about if he's still going to arrest him.
I agree. Officers, like the officer in this case. Can you show me the report where the officer said he drove perfectly? That word.
Well, the officers never say that. They only point out things that went wrong. They didn't say, oh, he balanced really well,
Okay.
ever.
Okay. Mr. Okorocha, why did the officers pull over the defendant in the first place?
There's an equipment violation, I think some sort of light in the back, and there was one other thing I don't recall.
You didn't recall what he did to catch the officer's attention, but Mr. Reyes-Contreras wasn't impaired.
Catching the officer's attention doesn't have anything to do with being impaired by alcohol.
The way that Mr. Reyes-Contreras was driving, you didn't even know what that was before the stop.
Okay, but for the stop, well,